In episode 4, we'll look at another well-known advanced race of morons that I originally thought maybe weren't too stupid. But I have a series to continue, so I've dug deeper, and I'm happy to report that I was totally wrong. So brush up on your 90s coding skills, sharpen your machetes, wind up that sucker punch, and make sure your stars and stripes are flying high. It's the Harvesters. Independence Day. It's a likeable cookie-cutter alien invasion flick filled with so many well-worn tropes and cliches they could thereafter never be used without intense wincing from the audience. This movie is dripping with patriotism in the form of American cheese.
Hundreds of American pilots.
And may have single-handedly ended the 90s run of near-perfect blockbuster movies. But at least it gave us the most awesome Jewish caricature ever.
This I like.
These Harvesters are a slimy race of space locusts, who move from planet to planet harvesting planetary cores as a means of developing their technology and sustaining their civilization.
Closest. They take and then they go.
Which is apparently preferable to settling down on the numerous habitable worlds they seem to stumble upon. This is a technologically advanced race that we are told are extremely intelligent. They talk a big talk when they're in their fancy exoskeleton. But once expelled from their surrogate womb, they're as helpless as a newborn. Of course, the epic humans of Independence Day defeat these disgusting critters easily. And then the remnants of the American government force their national holiday onto the rest of the world without permission.
The 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday.
Millions are dead, but goddamn, it's never felt better to be human. Don't get complacent though, because even though nothing about the Harvester fighter ships changed in 60 years,
Are you sure?
including mothership access authorization,
They are bringing us in.
Oops.
now the Harvesters are back after just 20 years, and everything is better. Directional weapons. Multi-targeting systems. No reliance on archaic human satellites. Faster attack ships with rapid-fire energy cannons. Gun wielding. Personal shield. Auto retreat. Ecosystem. Gravity. And a mothership big enough to hold the attention of the modern desensitized cinema goer. This noticeable step up in technological prowess could be due to a number of reasons. The Harvesters may have upgraded their gear to cope with the increased human threat, or as some fanboys suggest, the original Harvester aliens may have been an auxiliary force, some sort of first line of offense designed to deploy their military as efficiently as possible. But due to the drastic differences between the original Independence Day aliens and their more epic Resurgence counterparts, henceforth I have no choice but to refer to the original aliens as the Harvesters. Independence Day Resurgence is lathered with only a modest portion of American cheese.
They like to get the landmarks.
Enough to make it feel like a sequel, but not enough to upset the tummies of lactose intolerant millennials.
Big closing doors, big closing doors.
Unfortunately, the existence of this film may have somewhat sabotaged my ability to pour scorn over the species as a whole. After all, it's a movie charged with the awkward task of repairing the aliens' laughable weaknesses from the original. But fear not, it also of course has to issue a whole bunch of new flaws for the humans to exploit.
We are gonna kick some serious alien ass.
And the humans are more epic than ever. It's a movie alright,
Then I saved everyone.
and there is still plenty left to pick on here. Point 1. Their military tactics and overall invasion strategy invites failure. This species' most seriously damning trait is their overconfidence. Most notably, the fact they sent the Half-Fasters and not their elite forces to deal with Earth. They must have had some knowledge of human civilization, as they seem to have planned to use our own satellites against us.
They're using our own satellites against us.
That at the very least scouted around Earth in 1947.
There's no recovered spaceship. It's not entirely accurate.
A time when we had nukes and early computer systems. This fighter probably had a support ship somewhere nearby. But even if this was the only ship to make it here, well, the fact that it didn't come home should have been enough to tell the Harvesters this species warrants more intensive scrutiny. The Harvesters' first fatal flaw was assuming that the Half-Fasters would be enough to deal with these primitive but powerful warmongering apes. Long before they got here, the Harvesters woefully misjudged humanity's capacity for destruction and deception.
Ah! Don't get me unprepared.
Well, not actual humanity, just this bunch of glorious winners.
Ship all banged up! Who's the man?
Another pre-invasion strategic failure, and a classic feature of many a dumb alien race. They want resources and they've chosen Earth. This species is the mother of all dumb mining races.
They're moving from planet to planet. After they've consumed every natural resource, they move on.
Vultures.
A harvester ship conquered our planet and extracted its molten core. They have done this to countless civilizations.
Not only do they seem to ignore the many uninhabited worlds with viable cores that should exist according to our current scientific knowledge, instead invading a world with a civilization that has technology and the strategic nous to defeat them, but their mining practice is also extremely wasteful. It's like their whole existence is designed to speed up entropy. Plus, I really don't think the materials in our core would be capable of sustaining the Harvesters. I hope your civilization only needs nickel and iron, because that's about all our core is made of.
Sensor analysis.
Why a civilization would not just ignore, but destroy the habitable worlds it comes across defies logic.
Indeed.
They want the damn ecosystem, but they don't want to colonize and terraform entire planets. They could settle suitable worlds and still satiate their appetite for resources by mining uninhabitable planets with suitable cores. Or just do normal space mining without the whole planetary destruction thing. The aliens proved their commitment to invading worlds with aggressive war-proficient species when they returned to Earth for Invasion 2.0, and now they're slightly harder to kill. Kinda. But their tactics are worse than ever, and their general security ain't too good either. The Half-Fasters may have the lion's share of this civilization's glaring weaknesses, but the normal Harvesters aren't without sin either.
Been holding that one for a while.
Point 2. Frontline fodder or not, none of your forces should suffer defeat at the hands of a 1995 laptop, or a fist, or a machete. All Harvester forces seem to suffer from a lack of basic security measures. These ships were just there for the taking, no special authorization required. The Harvesters may not face any sort of internal threat due to the oversight of the hive mind, but they should know by now that security is necessary to prevent your enemies from messing with your shit. Another typical feature of Harvester ships is to have a gaping hole on its exterior, as if designed to allow ships to fly into and blow stuff up in. These Harvesters are far too trusting of their mortal enemies. They're aware of deception and subversive behaviour, as they have been shown to practice it themselves. This gaping hole has the excuse that they intentionally lured the humans in here, but then they've got ships with keys in the ignition just hanging about nearby. However, security-wise, the Harvesters admittedly used to be much worse. Before Resurgence updated the Harvesters with a basic firewall, the Half-Fasters were running their systems using a Norton antivirus trial version. As in, they had worse than no network security at all. One of the most famous and stupid of alien weaknesses, the Half-Fasters were laughably defeated after being hacked by a 1995 Apple PowerBook 5300. Regarded as one of Apple's worst products ever. The Half-Fasters were utterly outsmarted by Yuppie Dave, a blithering underachieving nerd.
Exact binary sequence, then I calculate the phase reversal with an analyzer, I book it for your birthday and apply it.
In what must be a symptom of their overconfidence, the Half-Fasters invade by spewing all manner of signals across the globe.
This can't be right.
It must be a massive up yours to humans. Because without that, it's purely a reckless move. The signals are designed to coordinate their ships, but as usual, network security is lacking. It's encrypted, but that's not enough to stop Yuppie Dave, who figures out there is a countdown embedded into the signal. What, so they couldn't just synchronize timers before they left the mothership? Dave discovers that the alien computers use a binary code conveniently similar to our own, and that's about the best thing I can find to explain this whole ridiculousness away. In reality, those dudes randomly firing off shots at the alien aircraft would have a better chance of disabling the shields of the entire fleet over someone with a computer that shouldn't be capable of interfacing with an alien computer at all. There is of course a deleted scene that supposedly justifies the method by which Dave delivers the virus into the alien systems, until you actually watch it and realize it doesn't really justify jack.
See these patterns here, they're repeating sequentially. It's just like their countdown signal. They're using that frequency for computer communications. Huh? See? That's how they're coordinating their ships.
It just confirms the aliens' network security is still piss poor.
You know, you're really starting to make us look bad.
Deleting this scene was probably the right call, to be honest.
Yeah, is it?
This is perhaps the most well-known of dumb alien flaws, and it was brought to you by a massive brand deal with Apple.
When you've got just 28 minutes to save the entire planet.
The clock is ticking.
You better hope you got the right computer.
The Mac PowerBook 5300, a computer so epic it was discontinued less than a month after the movie's release. Wait, so they sabotage a whole movie storyline just to try and make their product look good, and now they won't even sell us the damn thing. 2 words, battery fires. There was no need to drop a nuke, just load up that ship with dangerous PowerBook 5300s, leave them on charge inside the mothership, and you're done. 2 birds, 1 stone. The half-assed forces are really not up to task either. Their fighters may be well protected until Dave hacks their cloud storage anyway.
Computer virus.
But their main problem is their painfully slow rate of fire and maneuverability comparable to a regular Earth aircraft. The human-alien hybrid ships from Resurgence end up being better military aircraft than the original half-assed fighters they were based on.
We can go up, we can go down, we can go back, we can go forward, we can go side to side.
And these are the people who thought it would be a great idea to power big screens with cold fusion reactors. Their exoskeleton suits could also do with a bit of an upgrade.
Now comes the really icky part.
Besides seemingly slow reaction times, they have a glaring weakness in the back of their exosuit.
You have to get them from behind.
If a soft spot is required to allow you psychic tentacles, is that really a trade-off worth doing, considering it's a fairly easy weakness to exploit? And I don't give a damn if that pilot was already disoriented.
Welcome to Earth.
If a sucker punch can knock you out under protective armor, then this thing definitely needs a redesign. But wait, there's more. This city destroyer ship was defeated when the town drunk crashed into it. The power of these ships' weapons are impressive, but it seems seriously risky that all it takes to destroy the entire thing is to strike a modest blow against its weapon when it's firing. Targeting a weapon is a standard military strategy. Okay, granted, the shields are down, but under no circumstances should your gargantuan ship meet its end from a small explosion on its exterior. Of course, the real harvesters were smart enough to upgrade this feature as well. But there is one common thread that runs through all harvester forces, and is perhaps the most serious risk to their civilization.
Can we move it along?
Point 3, that whole centralized power to the point of extreme vulnerability thing. Now with a new and improved feature, irrational suicidal queens. Nearly everything in Harvester society is geared towards the centralization of power and control in a singular massive ship, which supports a vast section of Harvester society. And you thought the Harvesters only had superficial resemblances to the Xenomorphs before. Well, now they have alien queens too. In fact, Independence Day Resurgence is arguably the best Xenomorph movie we've had in 30 years. The Harvester forces are heavily reliant on the mothership for everything, and the Harvesters themselves are heavily reliant on the Queen. The mothership serves as the base of operations, coordinating their forces, providing shielding and power to all subordinate ships.
Virus.
This creates a problem similar to the Death Stars, in that it's now totally obvious which target needs attacking.
Well, you think they don't know what you know? They know, believe me, they know.
The Harvesters operate under a hive mind and will act unpredictably with the death of their Queen.
Shot in the back, very sad.
The Half-Fasters, left behind after the destruction of their Queen, went into some form of hibernation.
After 20 years of being catatonic.
Except for some Half-Fasters in Africa, who for some reason stayed awake, instead choosing to fight a feudal ground war against an African warlord for a decade.
You have a plan?
This intact ship powered down after the destruction of the mothership and Queen, so it appears this massive city-sized ship does not have the capability to operate independently at all. Way to doom your surviving forces. The later Harvesters of course up their game with a fancy auto-retreat feature that triggers when their Queen is destroyed. That's great. For the humans, no mess to clean up after you've destroyed the one life form driving this invasion. Their psychic abilities and hive mind also have their own strategic disadvantages. Basically anyone who comes into psychic contact with a Harvester will from that day forth have a link to any incoming queens. After the Half-Faster invasion, Earth is left with a small amount of people who can now act as canaries in the alien coal mine.
I think we're part of the hive now.
The humans have been gifted an early warning system capable of telling us whenever a queen is near.
She's already on her way.
It also seems risky to have your civilization concentrated in ships, which have been proven to be vulnerable to all manner of primitive technologies. And this hive mind carry-on seems like a Borg-level civilization destroying liability. With their apparently woeful security, I wouldn't bet against them being susceptible to any number of virus-related WMD attacks. The queens themselves appear to be pretty crappy leaders. The one we see is reckless and seems governed by emotions. This bitch is pissed when she discovers the defeat of the Half-Fasters, or maybe it was just the epic speech that riled her up.
Today, we celebrate our
So she sends her own forces to Earth, and this time the humans will need a better computer to defeat them. Once she gets to Earth and detects the space ball, the Queen has to go down in her ship and retrieve it herself, as though she has some sort of personal grudge against it. And then she has a personal grudge against this school bus, and then against this pilot. Aren't you meant to be searching for that ball?
Move on. This is not healthy.
This Queen is pretty petty, and her irrational yet predictable response means she has fallen for another human ruse.
Surprised to see me? Happy 4th of July.
Helped in part by our Canary people warning us of her approach. Everything the Queen does in this Godzilla-ish third act of Resurgence is absolutely foolish considering the entire invasion is completely dependent on her survival. One area where the original unseen Half-Faster Queen had an edge over the Resurgence Queen is at least she knew to stay the hell away from the front line, in the temporary safety of her half-assed looking mothership. But in the future the Queens might not have a choice but to involve themselves in battle, because Resurgence had modest financial success, and if a sequel is ever made, the humans will be beyond epic.
You won't believe the weapons and the technology this thing has on its proverbial hard drive. It wants us to lead their resistance.
What do you mean?
They'll be leading an interstellar coalition of alien forces, with cooler toys than ever before. No doubt the Harvesters will again upgrade their weaknesses, but this risky centralization thing seems like an Achilles heel that just won't quit. Perhaps we'll see something like a super queen to end them all.
For God's sake.
Oh, you're right. We'll just upload a computer virus into the mothership.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and go chuck a vote on Patreon if you'd like to decide which advanced sci-fi civilization is next.